So we now look at the internal organs of the male reproductive system. So the internal organs of the male reproductive system are testes, epididymis, urethra, and the vas deferens. The testes are two glands which produce sperm and hormones. So the testis produces testosterone, the hormone called testosterone. Epididymis is a site or a place or part is the part of the testis. It's attached to the posterior part of the testis and it stores sperms during maturation. So that's where the sperms go and mature. The urethra is a tube which allows urine and semen to exit the body and connects to the bladder. So we are looking at the male reproductive system. The vas deferens is a tube which connects the testis to the urethra and allows semen to exit the body. So let's look at these structures. Okay, so a clearer one is here. So this is the testis, which is covered by tunica albuginea. That is the thin covering around the testis. And the testis is divided into several hundreds of lobes, several hundred lobules by structures we call septa. This area is called the red testis. Then we have the efferent ductals. Head of epididymis is where the epididymis is where the sperms mature. So this is the head of the epididymis. This is the body of the epididymis or the corpus. Then we have the tail of the epididymis. So sperms after maturation travel through the body, the tail, and goes into the vas deferens or the ductus deferens, into the urethra. So sperms are produced in the lobules. Sperms are produced. We call it germinal epithelia. That's where sperms are produced. So let's look at these structures also. So we have the testis here, the scrotum here, the prepuce, that's the foreskin, where the foreskin is, or the foreskin. Then we have the glands of the penis, that's the actual penis, and the prepuce, the foreskin. We have the epididymis, this attached to the posterior aspect of the testis. Then we also have the ductus or the vas deferens, that is what shuttles or transports the produced sperms into the ampulla of the ductus or vas deferens. Then it joins the seminal secretion from the seminal vesicle into the ejaculating duct. And this is the prostate gland. It also has what? The prostate gland also has there is also a duct through the prostate gland, that's the prostatic urethra, into the membranous urethra, then the spongy urethra, where it has urine or sperm exits the body. This is the urinary bladder. This is the pubic symphysis, where the penis is attached. Root of the penis is here. We have the root of the penis here. We have the urethra here. You can see the urethra. The bulbospongiosum muscle is also here. The bulbospongiosum muscle. Okay, so I've explained all this. So this is the rectum, the seminal vesicle, the prostate gland, with the prostatic urethra passing through it. We have the membranous urethra here and the spongy urethra. Spongy because it passes through the corpus spongiosum. There's the erectile tissue over here, periapical tissue over here. Let me explain this diagram also. So we have the so very well deep fascia of penis is here. There is also the testis, the tunica vaginalis. This is the tunica vaginalis is what is what a peritoneal tissue that if somebody has hydrocele, there is abdominal fluid collection inside the peritoneal tissue. That is what we call process vaginalis. So it has to be closed, but if it is patent, then to hydrocele, that's collection of fluid in the scrotum, collection of fluid in the scrotum. You all know how to spell scrotum. So that is what we call process vaginalis, or tunica vaginalis. So when there is this tunica vaginalis, we will later talk about patent process vaginalis. Patent means that there is a way through it, a hole through it where content can flow through. So look at process vaginalis or tunica vaginalis. So that's where tunica vaginalis. That's where abdominal fluid flows through. Fluid collects inside the tunica vaginalis when there is and that leads to what we call hydrocele, collection of fluid in the tunica vaginalis, covering the testis. We have the epididymis here. Then pampiniform plexus, that's a collection of blood vessels or veins, and the pampiniform plexus is what dilates. When there is a dilate in the pampiniform plexus, that is what leads to varicose veins, dilation of the veins. We call it varicose veins. So we have varicose. That's what varicose veins or varicose veins. So that's the dilation of when the veins are dilated. Dilation of veins. Dilation of veins. Of the testis, or the veins that take blood away from the testis, because the pampiniform plexus. So let's look at it. So let's continue. So this is the pampiniform plexus is here. Then we have the testicular artery that supplies blood to the testis, because there should be nourishment of blood to the testis for spermatogenesis or production of sperm. We have the cremaster muscle, spermatic cord. This whole thing is the spermatic cord. And the spermatic cord contains the testicular artery, pampiniform plexus, which is the testicular veins, ductus deferens or vas deferens that transports the sperm that has been produced. We also have the cremaster muscle. Then we have the genitofemoral nerve. We'll see it later. As the spelling, genitofemoral nerve is also inside the spermatic cord. Genito. It supplies the genitals. It takes sensation. A nerve genitofemoral nerve. So the genitofemoral nerve provides sensation at the area around. Genitofemoral nerve provides sensation in the area around the male's the scrotum, anterior scrotum, mons pubis in the females, upper segment of the anterior thigh in both males and females. So it's very, very important. If this nerve is not working, if the genitofemoral nerve is not working, this nerve is not working, that means that the person will not feel any sensation around those places of the body. Okay, so all diagrams have been illustrated. So this is the pipiniform plexus, the testicular artery. We have the lobes. The lobes are here. Then the tunica albuginea, that's the whitish thing, covering on the testis. Then this is the epididymis, that is the folded structure. Then this is the vas deferens. This is the head of the epididymis. That's where the sperm matures, the newly produced sperm matures. It becomes an adult. We have the head, the body, the tail. Okay, so let's continue over here. So we have this, the lobule, and the lobule, that's where the germinal epithelial cells are, that leads to spermatogenesis, or production of sperm, the blood supply, and the nerve. This is the genitofemoral nerve, the yellow structure here. This is the spermatic cord. If you are a doctor, and go and cut somebody's spermatic cord, you should know that sensation produced by genitofemoral nerve is gone. Blood supply to the testis is gone. And blood uptake from the testis through the pipiniform plexus is also gone. So you can see the epididymis, the rectus, the tunica albuginea, that's the covering around the testis. Then the tunica vaginalis, this is the whole, that is what leads to patent process vaginalis in children with hernia and the rest. So here you can see over here that tunica vaginalis can accommodate fluid, and that is what leads to hydrocele. And this is the seminiferous tubule. Okay, so let's continue. So let me go and explain something small over here. Okay, so the vas deferens I've explained. So the oval and slightly flattened, that the testis. These are the dimensions of the testis. Both male and female gonads initially develop high in the abdominal cavity, meaning that the testis develops in the abdominal cavity near the kidneys. You know, kidneys are not at the pelvic cavity, they are in the abdomen. And the testis later migrate into the pelvic cavity. Pelvic cavity is where you have the sacrum, that's the hips and the rest, going to the pubic area. So the testis now descends into the pelvic cavity. So the ovaries also descend to the pelvic cavity. So when you are young, or when you are a fetus, or when you are young, both male and female gonads initially develop high in the abdomen and later descends into the pelvic cavity. The gubernaculum is a connective tissue cord which extends from the gonad, or the testis and the ovaries, to the floor of the pelvic cavity. And what this gubernaculum does is that in the male, it passes between the internal and external abdominal oblique muscles into the scrotal swelling. The vaginal process is the fold of the peritoneum that extends into the scrotum. I will explain this. Let's go here. So when somebody is 3 months old, like 3 months old, that's in the womb, when the fetus is in the womb, 3 months old fetus. You know, a fetus is after embryo. Embryo is what? After fertilization, the zygote is formed. Then the zygote, after the zygote formation, 2 months later, we have the fetus we have embryo. Then, like after the zygote is formed, embryo is formed. Then 2 months later, from more than 2 months, we get what the fetus. So we can see over here that this is the vaginal process. We call vaginal process just a section of the abdominal tissue, parietal peritoneum, the abdominal tissue. Then we also have the epididymis here, we have the testis here. This is a 3 months fetus. We have the pubic symphysis. We have the parietal peritoneum that covers the abdominal wall. And the epididymis is here. So the parietal peritoneum, that's the tissue covering abdominal wall, descends down. It's about to come, and this is the scrotal swelling. And this is the gubernaculum. The gubernaculum is just like a sensor, a long cord. That shows the testis, testis, you are in the abdomen. Come down to the pelvic area and come and occupy the testis. Come and occupy the scrotum. So it will come and attach to the base of the scrotum and direct the testis to come down. So when this fetus is 8 months old, then the gubernaculum will descend down with the testis. So you can see that now the testis is no longer in the abdomen. It has now come closer to the level of the penis. But the gubernaculum has attached to the base of the scrotum. The vaginal process has also followed, and the vaginal process is what? Like I said, is the parietal peritoneum that goes down, vaginal process, and that is what leads to tunica vaginalis. But it has to be closed after birth, so we'll get there. So this is the inguinal canal, then the muscular wall of the abdomen. When a baby is delivered and it is 1 month old, so in a 1 month old infant, it gets a spermatic cord. The testis fully descends into the scrotum, guided by the gubernaculum. This is the scrotum. The tunica vaginalis is formed, and that is what, if somebody has a chill or hydrocele, collection of fluid in the testis, and becomes so big, there's a collection of serous fluid, abdominal fluid inside. But for a normal person, there is no collection of abdominal fluid, so the person is comfortable. So the spermatic cord, because the connection between the abdominal vaginal process and the testicular or scrotal vaginal process, the link between them is closed. So this is what? A closed vaginal process. So there is no connection between the abdominal cavity and the scrotal cavity. It is closed. So this is what we have. But if somebody has hernia, then the abdominal cavity, especially hernia in children, the abdominal cavity, the parietal peritoneum and the abdominal cavity, which forms the tunica vaginalis, there is a connection between this one and the tunica vaginalis here. So contents of the abdomen now flows into the pelvic area, especially into the scrotum. So it has to be removed. Doctors have to strengthen the pelvic floor, to strengthen it with a mesh, or they will also do nylon darning or a mesh to strengthen it, to close it. So this is what we have. So we have the closed proximal portion of vaginal process. Then this is the distal portion that's from the tunica vaginalis. So I have explained what the gubernaculum does. That's a connective tissue cord that extends from the gonad to the floor of the pelvic cavity. And in male, it passes between the internal and external abdominal oblique muscles into the scrotal swelling. And the vaginal process is the fold of the peritoneum that extends into the scrotum. So let's proceed. So a condition called cryptorchidism is when boys born with undescended testes, meaning that the testis remains in the abdominal cavity, and this occurs in 3% of male births. In most cases, the testis descend during the first year of infancy, but if it does not descend into the scrotum, then testosterone injection or simple surgery will be used to draw the testes into the scrotum. Ovaries descend to lesser extent. The ovaries don't descend deeply like the testes. They lodge on the inferior brim of the lesser pelvis. Gubernaculum becomes a pair of ligaments. So the gubernaculum in women or females leads to ovarian and round ligaments that support the ovary and the uterus. I will explain this when we get to that image. Okay, so let's look at what the seminiferous, the testis. So like I explained, the seminiferous tubules is 1 to 3 in each lobe. Each tubule is lined with a thick germinal epithelium, and the germinal epithelium is what germinates or forms the sperm. Interstitial or Leydig cells between the tubules produce testosterone. So in the testis, the cells that produce testosterone are called Leydig cells or interstitial cells. Then sustentacular or Sertoli cells in between germ cells protect the germ cells and promote their development. So the Sertoli cells also nourishes or give nutrients to the germ cells, remove waste products from the germ cells, and provide growth factors and other needs of the germ cells. We will look at that in physiology. This is just anatomy. We'll look at that in physiology. So the tunica albuginea is a white fibrous capsule on testis connective tissue. On testis, connective tissue septa divides testis into 250 to 300 wedge-shaped lobes. So let's see this. So this is the tunica albuginea, like I explained earlier on, tunica albuginea. But later we'll look at the Sertoli cells and the Leydig cells in physiology. So I've already explained what the epididymis is. So the ductus deferens. So the ductus deferens is what, or vas deferens is, so I explained this earlier on. So let me go back and get a diagram. So the vas deferens. Okay, so this is the vas deferens. So this is the epididymis. After the epididymis, this is the head of the epididymis, the tail, the body. Then it goes into this long cord or tube is called the vastus deferens, and it ends in an ampulla region. This is the ampulla, and this is the seminal vesicle. We have the bulbourethral gland that produce, or Cowper's gland that produce fluid that lubricates the mouth of the penis and also neutralizes the acidic content of urine in the urethra, so that when the sperm enters the urethra, it will not be killed by the acidity of the urethra, and also moistures the head of the penis, so it can easily, it will lubricate the head of the penis so it can easily penetrate the vagina. So this is the testis covered by tunica albuginea. Then this is the corpus cavernosum, that's the erectile tissue that makes your penis very, very hard. And this is the corpus spongiosum that propels urine and semen, contracts to propel urine and semen through the urethra. Okay, so we have the ejaculatory tube, the ampulla of the this is the ampulla, like I said, of the vas deferens. We also have the prostate gland. The prostate gland is here, just at the mouth of the urinary bladder. This big thing is the urinary bladder. Then we also have the prostate urethra. The urethras are 3. We have the prostatic urethra that runs through the prostate gland. That means that when your prostate gland is enlarged, and it will become difficult for you to urinate, for urine to pass through the prostate gland from the urethra, from the urinary bladder. So the person will urinating small piece, and becomes difficult. So we also have this, the bulb of the penis. We have the membranous urethra is here, just after the prostatic urethra, the membranous urethra. And all these urethra from here to here is what we call the spongy urethra, because it's surrounded by the corpus spongiosum. This is the ureter. Ureter is at the back of the urinary bladder. Okay, so this is what we have. So let's look at the urethra. Let's look at the ductus deferens. The ductus deferens is a muscular tube long passing up from scrotum through inguinal canal to posterior surface of the bladder. The duct widens behind the bladder into the terminal ampulla. I showed you the ampulla section of the ductus deferens. The duct ends by uniting with the duct of the seminal vesicle to form ejaculatory tube. So the urinary, this is the vas deferens. It unites with the seminal vesicle. The ampulla of the vas deferens, the seminal vesicle, unite over here to form the ejaculatory duct over here, which runs through the prostate gland. Okay, so the vas deferens transports sperm from the epididymis through the inguinal canal to the ejaculating ducts in the prostate gland. So the ejaculatory duct is just what I showed you, this small thing. It's 2 centimeters duct from ductus deferens and seminal vesicle, passes through the prostate to empty into the urethra. So this is the ejaculatory duct here. Let's look at the urethra. So the urethra, it is 18 centimeters long and shared by the reproductive and the urinary system. So urine and sperm goes through the urethra. It consists of 3 regions. We have the prostatic urethra, membranous urethra, spongy or pineal running through the penis urethra. So this is the acronym for it. To remember the pathway of the sperm during ejaculation, we have the seminiferous tubules, that's where sperms are produced. Then they are matured in the epididymis. Then the vas deferens is what carries it to the ejaculatory duct. After the ejaculatory duct, nothing. Then passes through the urethra and through the penis. So we have, so this is the prostatic urethra, the urethra that runs through the prostate gland. This is the prostate gland. And this is the membranous urethra. That's the urethra that runs through this perineal muscle. Then we have the spongy urethra, the urethra that runs through the corpus spongiosum or the penis. Okay, so the spermatic cord, like I said, is a bundle of fibrous connective tissue containing the ductus deferens or the vas deferens, the blood and lymphatic vessels, and testicular nerve, that's the genitofemoral nerve. It continues through 4 centimeters inguinal canal into the pelvic cavity. We have the external inguinal ring, inferior entrance to the inguinal canal, the internal inguinal ring, superior exit to the pelvic cavity. So internal inguinal ring and the rest I will show you later, but you don't really need those things now. That is for those who will be doing surgery, the medicine in surgery. So inguinal region, you should know your inguinal region just around your inguinal region is just around your pubic area, where your organs are. So accessory glands. So 3 sets of glands in the male reproductive system are the seminal vesicles. In the seminal vesicles, there are a pair of glands posterior to the bladder, and they empty into the ejaculatory duct. So that's the seminal vesicles. Then the prostate gland, that surrounds urethra, that's the prostatic urethra, surrounds the prostatic urethra, and ejaculatory duct, just inferior to the bladder. So we have the seminal vesicle. So let me show you this. The ejaculatory duct is here, seminal vesicle duct is here, and this is the seminal vesicle. That's the seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle. It also produces some fluid, and we have the ampulla of the ductus deferens is here. Bulbourethral gland, as I said, it produces some whitish, it produces some fluid that lubricates the mouth of the penis for it to be able to smoothly enter the vagina, and it also neutralizes the acidic content of the urine in the urethra, so that it will the sperm will not be killed by the uric acid that is produced in the urine, because the sperm and the urine are all passing through the same exit, that's the urethra. Okay, so let's see. So the glands, so the prostate gland, let me show you the prostate. So this is the prostate gland, and this is the prostatic urethra. So these are the various glands. We have the seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and the bulbourethral glands, the Cowper's gland. And as I said, during sexual arousal, the Cowper's gland produces a clear, slippery fluid that lubricates the head of the penis in preparation for intercourse. It also protects the sperm by neutralizing the acidity of the residual urine in the urethra. So in physiology, you will get to know the functions of the seminal vesicles and the prostate gland. When we do it in physiology, we will get to know that seminal vesicle produces fluids that aid or nourishes the sperm, the prostate gland also. So know all those things when we get to physiology. But now you are just supposed to be able to identify the structures. The seminal vesicle, what the seminal vesicle is, what the prostate gland is, what the Cowper's gland is. When we start the physiology, you will now understand their function. Okay, so we have so wow, this is, so we've seen the accessory organs, accessory glands of the male reproductive system. Let's now go to the female reproductive system. So the female reproductive system, we can see a beautiful vagina here, and this is a woman's anus. So we can see over here, collectively the external female reproductive organs are called the vulva. So the external female reproductive, all these areas are called vulva. So the vulva comprises of what? The mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, clitoris is over here, that one there I can locate it. Then the vestibule is all this side, is the vestibule. Labia majora is here, labia minora is here, and all this pinkish thing is the vestibule. Then the mons pubis is where the hair grows. So let's go. So let's go to a label diagram. Okay, so this is the mons pubis where the hair is. We have the labia or labium majus or labia majora. This is the vaginal opening or introitus. We have the opening of paraurethra or skinny's duct. That's where the skinny's gland is the female's own prostate gland. Prostate gland, or the women also have prostate gland. We call the skinny's gland. Then we have the frenulum is here, the pubis. You see, women also have a foreskin called pubis, and they also have glands. They also have a penis, and their penis is called the clitoris. So this is the glands of the clitoris, the head of the clitoris. So their clitoris is buried inside their pelvic area, while the man's own is a shaft that comes out and very long. The woman's own is buried within her. And so the only small aspect we can see is what we call the clitoris, or the glands of the clitoris. But it's the woman has 4 erectile tissues. They have the corpus cavernosum, they have the corpus spongiosum, a pair of the corpus cavernosum, a pair of the corpus spongiosum. So whatever a man has, woman also have. A woman even have a prostate. That is what is called the skinny duct or the skinny gland. Then the anterior labia commissure is here. The commissure is just a separation. Then this is the hymenal caruncle. That's the hymen. There was a covering, but it is now cut. A certain bad man entered there and destroyed the hymen. So this is the cut side of the hymen. This is it. That's the hymenal caruncle. Opening of the greater vestibular gland or Bartholin's gland also produces secretions to lubricate the woman's reproductive system during sex. So this is the urethral opening. So the woman has a place where urine comes out and a place where stool comes out. Then she also has a place where the man will penetrate. So the urine does not come out of the vagina, it comes out of the urethra. And the urethra is separated from the vagina. But for the man, the organ of coitus carries both sperm and urine, but the woman, her organ of coitus is separated from the urogenital, the urinary system. So that is it. So it's beautifully explained here. This is the mons pubis. This is the pupils of the clitoris. Labia minora, labia majora. Labia majora is here. Labia minora is here. We have the anus, the hymen, which has been cut. So this one is paros. He can enter. Then the vestibule is here. And all this is the vestibule. All this is the vestibule. So all this labia majora, labia minora. No, apart from labia majora, the rest are part of the vestibule. The glands of the clitoris is clearer here. Let me go and explain this diagram also. So we also have this. So you can see the structure of the clitoris. So the clitoris has what? That's the woman's reproductive system. The woman's reproductive system. So the structure of the clitoris is here. Varies. The clitoris has what? The clitoral shaft. The glans, the clitoral shaft is covering what? We have the glans, clitoris, that's the penis itself, the mouth of the penis. Then the corpus cavernosum, like I said, the four erectile tissues that we saw in the man are the same erectile tissues found in the woman. So we have the corpus cavernosum here, that's a pair, this one and this. Then the corpus spongiosum is also, the woman also have a corpus spongiosum. It's not displayed here, but we'll see later. The corpus cavernosum is here, the glans clitoris is here. Then we have the bulb of the vestibule. Bulb of the vestibule is also here. So this is the bulb of the vestibule. The bulb of the vestibule. We have the crus of the clitoris, or the corpus cavernosum. You know, it has a crus. So this is the vaginal opening, this is the urethral opening. But over here, the corpus spongiosum is not showing well, but we will later see it. So the mons pubis is rounded, soft, subcutaneous fatty tissue prominence over the symphysis pubis that forms the anterior border of the external reproductive organs. It is covered with varying amounts of pubic hair. Labia majora are two rounded fleshy folds of tissue. So you can read these things. Then it protects the labia minora, urinary meatus. Meatus is a hole. The vagina introitus is also a hole or orifice of the vagina. So read those things too. You have the labia majora, so you can see it in the diagram. You can go and read it. Then the clitoris, like I explained, the term clitoris comes from a Greek word meaning key. Hey, very essential, key. And it's located under the clitoral hood. Its rich vascularity. It is rich vascularly and highly sensitive to temperature, touch, and pressure sensation. So if you touch a woman's clitoris, my brother, you have your way. The erectile tissues that the clitoris has is what? Corporal cavernosum, that's a crus, covered by ischial cavernosus muscle, and also the bulb of vestibule, flanks the vestibule, covered by bulbous spongiosus. So I told you that there is corpus or corpora cavernosa in the woman, and also the corpus spongiosum also is in the woman. So they also have 4 erectile tissues. Okay, so meaning that the clitoris during sex, it also becomes erect because and very strong and erect. Erect because it has 4 erectile tissues: corpus cavernosum and what? Corpus spongiosum. So it's erectile tissue. So women also erect. So the vestibule is oval-shaped area formed between the labia minora, clitoris, and the fourchette. So let me show you the vestibule. So this is the fourchette. This is the fourchette. The fourchette. This is the fourchette. We have the vestibule is all here. So the labia minora is part of the vestibule. All the sections over here are vestibule. So the vestibule is an oval-shaped area formed between the labia minora, clitoris, and the fourchette. The vestibule contains the external urethra meatus, vagina introitus, or the vaginal hole. Introitus is the same as hole, and the ducts of Bartholin's glands, or called greater vestibular glands. So the Bartholin's gland is here. You can see the greater vestibular or Bartholin's gland. It produces fluid that lubricates the vagina during sex. So blood supply to the vulva is from the internal and external pudendal arteries. So the pudendal arteries supply blood to the vulva, all these organs here. Then the venous drainage is via pudendal veins. So always remember pudendal artery. When you are the pubic region or the groin, pudendal arteries and pudendal veins, they supply blood and drain the smaller, and drain they also have pudendal veins with smaller labial veins as tributaries. Okay, so let's go. What is the perineum? So the perineum, like I said initially, so from the vaginal fourchette here to the anal opening, this whole area is called perineum. From here to here is perineum. So you can realize that. Let me really go back and show you the actual the perineum, the diagram for the perineum. It's very important. The perineum is very important because when you are delivering, you are a woman and you are delivering a baby, and the baby has a big head, there's something we call perineotomy or episiotomy. They have to cut. Okay, the male perineum is here, so perineal raphe. So this is the perineum, from the penis, the scrotum here to the anus. This line or this area is the perineum. So this whole area is the perineum. So if a woman is delivering and the head of the baby is bigger than the vaginal opening, then you have to cut here small so that it will loosen it small so the head can engage or pass through. So let's go back to the woman's perineum, the female perineum. So if you have uterine rupture, it's a very serious thing. So the perineum is here. When the baby's head is very big, you have to cut here small, cut it small so that the head can enter. Cut it small here so that the head of the baby can now enter. So this is the perineum. The perineum is the line. There is the perineal raphe. So the line from the anus to the forceps of the vagina. So this whole area is the perineum. So you cut, if the head of the baby is too big, you cut here small so that the vagina will open, then the head of the baby can engage and come out. So it's the most posterior part of the external female reproductive organs. And the perineum extends from forceps, that's the clinical perineum, anteriorly to the anus posteriorly. And it's composed of fibrous and muscular tissues that support pelvic structures. So the perineum supports the anus, the levator ani muscle, and the rest, or the anchor the perineum. So episiotomy or perineotomy is a surgical incision of the perineum and posterior vaginal wall to help a baby with a big head to be able to come out of the woman's vagina if the woman's vagina is small. The baby cannot enter. Okay, so internal female structures are here. So the internal female structures are the vagina, the uterus. Whenever you see uterus, it's called womb. The womb of a woman is called uterus. The fallopian tubes are called salpinx, and the ovaries are here. So fallopian tubes are called salpinx. Or also called uterine tubes. Also called uterine tubes. Let's save this video. We'll end the second section of this lecture here and continue another day.